Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And as you can see, I am back in my own digs, settled back in, unpacked, ready to see how the pause that refreshes spills into the following days. And we have an awesome reading today about forgiveness. And what it does for us when we forgive, as opposed to focusing on, oh, I'm letting them off the hook. No. So we'll give it a minute, let people jump on here, and then see what it has to tell us. It's a chapter we've read before multiple times, but I oftentimes find that if we revisit something, kind of like we've been doing with our invoking divine right timing and divine right order, when we revisit it, it refreshes it. Good morning to whomever has popped on. Glad you are here. So we want to keep these things fresh in our minds. Gwen, you're the first one here today. Welcome. Glad you are here. So for those of you who like to follow along as I'm sharing something, it will be Tosha Silver's Outrageous Openness today. But first we're going to start with some breath and some tapping. So pick a spot. I happen to like this one. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, a little bit deeper, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and one more holding at the top. In through the nose, hold, and out. I'm just kind of shaking things off. I can tell in my neck that I've been sleeping in a bed that wasn't mine. So glad to be back home and have my own pillows just the way I want them and stuff like that. But now I have to get the stiffness out of my neck. So again, we have Outrageous Openness by Tosha Silver. Good morning, Miss Jonelle. Glad you are here. Welcome. Letting the divine take the lead. And that was really a theme for our girls' weekend away. It was a really deep dive into letting the divine take the lead. And what does that look like, sound like, feel like at this juncture? Because things have changed. I'm not sure if you sense it yet, if you can feel it, but energy is shifting. So we want to accommodate that and rise to the occasion, as it were. And so this chapter that I'm going to read actually is Tosha rising to the occasion in a different way than people expect, or her friends wanted, or whatever. But for her, it was the divine right move. And when she honored that, yielded some very powerful lessons. So for those of you who have the book and like to follow along, it is page 37, called When Shysters Strike. I don't know if that's a word that's familiar to everybody, but it basically means someone who's operating in bad faith, taking advantage of people. So again, this is a chapter that has 2 quotes at the beginning, and as we well know, when a chapter has 2 quotes at the beginning, it's a good chapter. So the first chapter is by someone named Kelly Clark. By age 7, I had figured out that if I just did the opposite of what everyone told me, things worked out quite well. And the second one is Catherine Ponder. Forgiveness is the magnet that draws your endless good. It wipes clean the slate of the past to let you receive in the present. Now, we've been talking about clearing space, right? Whether it's clearing clutter literally, or whether it's the energy of letting go of that which no longer serves us and creating an open space into which can flow the new, what's meant to be there. But we need that pause between us having cleared space and it being filled with what's meant to come next. And many people aren't willing to feel that discomfort of that empty open space. Hopefully all of us are very willing to feel that, knowing that what it yields is so valuable. So she says, hang on, grab a Kleenex here. So notice as I'm sharing this story, good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. Welcome. Notice as I'm sharing this story where you feel reactivity and to what you feel that reactivity. Because there's several places in this story where people can get hooked. Let's see where you may get hooked. A guy named Tony got involved with my friend Jane. He was what my Polish Jewish grandmother would have called a smooth shyster. Someone who can manipulate almost anyone. Know any examples of that? He worked the rounds of Jane's pals, getting each of us to invest $5,000 in his glitzy marketing plan. And although he set off as many red flags inside me as an Indy racetrack, I watched in amazement as I forked over my cash, just like everyone else. Hello, Beth. Glad you're here. Welcome. A memorable example of ignoring my gut. Anybody else can relate to that? Good morning, Nancy. Glad you're here. Ignoring your gut. The internal is screaming, going, no, 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 don't go there. And you do it anyway. Usually we learn some good lessons out of that, but one of which is to heed that voice that's yelling at you. He was really a pro. As time wore on, one concocted obstacle arose after another, all culminating in the shysters vanishing with the money, leaving behind only a disconnected phone. We all had differing reactions. One guy sped off on his Harley for Sevastopol, rumored to be Tony's new home, vowing to find him and break both his frickin' legs. Someone else hired a sleuth. People spent weeks on the phone in victimized rage. But Tony had vaporized. As for me, while I was naive enough to be snookered in the first place, at least I knew what spiritual actions to take. I wanted my peace of mind back more than anything else. So I prayed. Let me release my karma with Tony by forgiving him and myself. Note the and myself. Free me from anger and resentment. You alone are my complete source, capital S, for abundance. My finances are fully wrapped in divine order. So they're not coming from scarcity. Like now that this $5,000 has disappeared, I'm in scarcity. No, no, no. The $5,000 went where apparently was supposed to go. What have I learned? Let me release the anger and frustration about this, etc. And here's the part where the friends are not on board. My friends thought I was a fool to forgive him. But over time, I prayed repeatedly. As I prayed repeatedly, it became easy to drop the whole mess. About 6 months later, when I'd almost forgotten the debacle, someone called who claimed to be Tony's associate. He said he had something for me. We agreed to meet at a cafe in Emeryville, and I dragged along my scrappiest, most tattooed and pierced pal as a bodyguard. But there was no need. Tony's sidekick was waiting calmly for me with a manila envelope filled with cash. He actually said, like someone who'd watched one too many episodes of The Sopranos, "Listen, honey, Tony scammed all over. I never saw him return nothing to no one. But he wanted you to have this. And believe me, he don't know why. To be honest, he's kind of rattled that he took from you." So here's the deal. If you make God your source for all financial, emotional, and spiritual abundance, you open yourself to unexpected, unlimited good. Each individual person, place, or thing is just the temporary, transitory form the divine uses to bring you what you need. So again, when we're trying to figure out the how, we're merely getting in the universe's way. Let the universe deal with the how. You focus on the why. Why do I want to let this go? Why do I want to release this angst? Why do I want to create X? When we focus on the why, and I have my why right now for the intentional community, to create a space that works well for keeping people in their own homes, for helping people move forward with connection and all the things that we tend to be missing right now. people you can count on, people you can trust, etc., etc. Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you are here. Your hearts look like Easter egg colors. Very pretty. So, again, you allow the universe to decide how it's going to deliver. You don't have to know how. And in fact, when you muck around in the how, you slow things down. She says, I'm certain that if I had stayed angry, Tony could never have returned the cash. My resentment would have blocked the flow. Praying to forgive him opened the door, but it also let Divine Source replace the funds however it chose. If one supply dries up, there's always another. So, operating on that principle yesterday, I released a particular thing, and now I'm in that place of emptiness. So I'm going from that's it to what's next. And don't know yet. Don't know yet. Just opening up the space, holding the space, talking about it so that the energy's flowing, knowing that there's space. We'll see what flows in. We'll see what flows in. Is it comfortable not knowing? No. Is it worth being uncomfortable in the not knowing? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what might you need to forgive at this point? And I'm going to hazard a guess that the biggest piece of whatever that debacle was is you forgiving yourself. Yes, forgiving the other is powerful, but oftentimes the piece we leave on the table is forgiving ourselves. Can you honor why you made the choices you made? Can you forgive yourself for having made those choices? At that time, that was the best path for you to take. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't have taken it. What were you meant to learn from that path? What were you meant to learn from that path? So if you look back on something and you go, oh no, that was a terrible path to take. I should have taken the other path. But at least honor yourself by asking, and what did I learn from taking that path? Even though I'm convinced it wasn't the right path, what did I actually learn from that? Just doing that step will open doors. All right, have an awesome Thursday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.